Wow. Hello, Toastmasters. How are you doing? Give me a Zoom reaction. Let me know that you're there. Right there in your control panel, you can kind of push that and give me a reaction. I have participated. Thank you, Natilia, whose name is so cute. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. Gave me a heart, and so did Andrew. Oh, thank you so much. First of all, I just want to say that I am super impressed by the VTM team. You guys are top-notch, first class, and I'm a part of a lot of Zoom events, whether it's in a production standpoint or whether I'm a speaker. So I'm just happy to be in your hands. Thank you for taking such good care of myself, members, as well as fellow speakers. So I get some time with you. I wanna make sure that I stay on time. And guys, I do look at the chat room now. Got some help from your team to sort of keep me keyed in case the chat just goes crazy. But my purpose with you, and I'm gonna sit up here and I'm gonna share. I don't know if you guys saw this slide, but I'm curious, does anyone care about any of this right here? Does anyone care about this? If you do, can you just put which numbers you care about in the chat room? I'm just curious to see that. If you just care about this, what are the numbers? So some folks on here are like, I want speaking engagements. I would love that. Some individuals here are like, I already have a book, but I want to sell it. Help me here. Sometimes it's I'm booked for many podcasts, but what do I do to generate results other than just give up my time? I'm on Zooms all the time, but how do I attract clients without coming off salesy? And then most importantly, my favorite, how do I leverage Zoom to accomplish any and all of the above? So some of you may have put 5 in there just because it was easier. So I love it because I just want to make sure Ilda, you're my reporter, right? You're kind of letting me know what's going on.
I will. I'm right here.
All right, Ilda, did we get a lot of 5s? Did we get some 4s? What were the numbers we got?
We got quite a bit of 5s, 1 and 4. Some people even put 6, which is not on the list. So I think we definitely people resonate and relate to all of these, all of the options on the list.
Okay, good. You know why I put this up here, fellow Toastmasters, is because this is why you should listen to this presentation. Because I don't know about you, but before I lean into a presentation, I want to know why it deserves my time and attention. And this is my goal. This is my promise to you that if you listen to my presentation, it will lead to this, but it's got to be strategic. All right. It's got to be that. So this is part of the reason why you're here. 3 major points I want to make, and that is connection, experience, content. Connection, experience, content, and all wrapped around Zoom like a boss. Now, no, with the intro, you were like, wait a minute, so did you just become the Zoom queen because we're in the pandemic? Absolutely not. I discovered Zoom shortly after it launched. I was one of those speakers that after being on the road for almost, I don't know, 3.5, 4 years with the seminar companies. And if you don't know what that means these are companies that will fly you out, pay you maybe $250, $300 a day if you're lucky, and you're speaking 6 hours. And I do not regret it. It was a great training ground for me, but it was exhausting. So while I was out there, a lot of my fellow Toastmasters would call me up and say, hey, Marquesa, can you teach me this? Or can you do that? And I just couldn't do most things because if I wasn't speaking, I was driving to my next city, then laying down, going to sleep, and starting over 4 and 5 days in a row. So I realized in order to sort of go with my business the way I wanted to go with my business, I needed to leverage the virtual world. So this happened for me. I started my business literally in 2005. So we're in 2020. That's 15 years, y'all, that I've been in business full time. By the way, my DTM project was becoming a professional speaker. That was my DTM project. So guys, this is like a reunion to me. I'm back home. Thank you. I get a chance to come back to where it all started. But anyway, while I was on the road, I wanted to make my own decisions. I appreciated all those audiences. I appreciated all the different cities and all the different experience, but I didn't appreciate gaining 60 plus pounds. And I also did not appreciate that I just didn't have a chance for a life. So that's why I started to speak virtually. So I was on WebEx, I was on GoToWebinar, I was on Join Now, I was on all these different places. And when I met Zoom, it was love at first sight. That's right. I jokingly tell people that if Zoom was a man, I would be married by now. So if I'm planning, so look out for a Zoom wedding invite. But seriously, I love Zoom and I want to share with you how to use it strategically. Now, there are a group of people, like every Sunday, I meet with my church via Zoom. And before I meet with my church, I go to my Weight Watchers meeting on Zoom. There's different purposes to Zoom. My goal is with the slide that I showed you earlier. This is why I do Zoom. So just sort of give me a thumbs up if this is why you do Zoom, because if it's more personal, if it's more, and it's no shade, but if it's more, I just want to go to church on Zoom, or like it was so cool last night hosting my grandmother's 91st birthday on Zoom. But if it's just for personal reasons, then this is not going to mean a whole lot to you. But if it's for these reasons, then you're in the right place, because it completely shifts your journey in the Zoom world. All right. So here's the thing. You guys all know this. I don't have to tell you that Zoom is the new normal, not just Zoom, but just virtual world. We are safer when we're virtually, right? This means standing out from everybody else is everything. If your Zoom is exactly like somebody else's Zoom, chances are you won't be memorable. It will be difficult to build a tribe. It will be difficult to build a following. And then it will be difficult to get booked because you'll look like everybody else. Does that make sense? So you want to stand out from everybody else. And that's really where the branding piece comes in. Now, I know a lot of, whether it's entrepreneurs, professionals, Toastmasters, all different types of individuals feel like this right now. You know, just give me a thumbs up if this is you with the Zoom reactions. If you feel like, Marquesa, there's like 1.5 million directions to go in. I mean, I'm told I got to get all this equipment, and then I got to learn all these bells and whistles, and then I'm exhausted. I get Zoomitis. I don't know what to do. Should I use Teams? Should I use WebEx? I mean, what? Tell me. I don't know which direction to go in. And I just want to say, take a deep breath and consider this, because this is just from my point of view. We all have points of views, and thank you for listening to mine today. My point of view is pick a lane and own it, not just when it comes to your content, but frankly, when it comes to your platform. If you like Zoom, stick with it. And guys, I keep up with Zoom updates. I know everything that's going on. Part of the reason is I'm a Zoom administrator. I'll share a little bit about that later, but because I understand Zoom and I know Zoom, a lot of other companies, and good for them, are popping up trying to show up like Zoom is, and that's cool. But I have no interest in those platforms. Why? Because I want to know everything I can here. Do I occasionally run into a client that does not want anything to do with Zoom and I have to sort of learn it? Absolutely. I'm in the middle of a tour right now where I'm doing my Zoom to income presentation, and that's 3 times a week. And that's part of the reason why I'm not using a virtual background. I'm using my natural background because they're on Big Marker, and Big Marker is not virtual background friendly, right? So I can appreciate that, but guys, Zoom is coming out with everything. Right now we're in December. By the end of January, chat will be on a whole nother level. Chat is like your own personal cell phone. It's going to be like WhatsApp, Messenger. Literally the things you're going to be able to do on Zoom is unreal. Has anyone ever heard of lower thirds? Have you ever watched a news broadcast and you saw a person's name right below it? Do you know Zoom will have lower thirds in like less than 90 days? Do you know that? Do you know Zoom has their own YouTube channel? And YouTube platform, not YouTube channel. And it's called On Zoom. How many of you guys know about that? It's called On.Zoom. So my point here is there's 1.5 million ways that Zoom improves itself. If I can give you your first tip, and do me a favor, and when I give you a tip, or if it's something that sticks for you, put action in the chat room. It makes the organizers feel like you're getting something out of this presentation, and it lets me know you heard me. So if there's something I mentioned, you're going to take an action, just put A and a dash in what that action is. So one action is always have the latest Zoom version on your computer before you join a meeting. If not, you take the risk of not being able to appreciate all the bells and whistles, and you may miss something. Does that make sense? So that means you need to go to zoom.us/download. If someone can put that in the chat room, zoom.us/download, fall in love with that. Now, if you download the Zoom client, what am I talking about? Go to zoom.us. At the very top in the navigation bar, something says resources. You click down and you will see where you click down on resources. The very first choice is download the Zoom client. That's like a little virtual assistant that sits on the side of your laptop or desktop. It is golden. And then that thing lets me know my schedule all day, whether a Zoom meeting is involved or not. And it lets me know if I need to update. But bottom line, update. Guys, Zoom is coming out with an update, I believe, at the end of the week. Okay, next week. They came up one two weeks ago. So please stay updated, because it allows you to do all of these awesome things. So again, simplify your process, focus on the outcome you're looking for, and less on, oh, but I got to know this platform and I got to know this platform. Believe me, if somebody really wants you to learn a platform, they'll pay you for it, okay? Or they'll have other people that can guide you through that platform. That's what I call zooming like a boss. Leveraging the Zoom platform in your business, resulting in smart meetings, stellar presentations, more business, leverage time and energy. So do me a favor and put in the chat room, which of these is most important to you? Is it, I want smart meetings. Smart meetings comes in, and guys, when I say smart meetings, that's events, whatever you want it to be. So is it smart meetings? Is it presentations you want to pump up? Do you want more business? Maybe you are an entrepreneur, which I call speakerpreneur. Maybe you want to maximize your time. Y'all, I turned 50. Can you believe it? I still don't want to talk about it. But that means that I do not have the same energy I had 5 years ago. And part of the reason that Zoom became a mega part of my life is because I wanted to take one action and have 5 outcomes. Anybody like me? So here in New York City, when my colleagues or clients would say, hey girl, let's meet in Midtown and let's go to this coffee shop. As awesome as that sounded, that means I would have to get dressed, then go on the subway. So if it's cold, you need a coat. If it's hot, my makeup is sweating and I gotta go up and down the stairs. I may not always be in shape, so I'm breathing hard. Then I gotta go into a restaurant. The Wi-Fi may not work, and this is all pre-pandemic, right? And don't get me wrong, I love my city, I love sitting in a restaurant, don't get me wrong, and I'm sure like everybody else, you're itching to have that life again. So I'm not complaining, and I'm fully aware of that. However, it hurt me when it came to maximizing my energy to do what I do in my business. It really hurt me. So instead I said, hey, I can still meet with you, Elda. I can still meet with you, Kareem. I can still meet with you, Sultan. But instead of, me getting on the subway, I'm going to do that once a week. And when I'm out, I'm out. I'm going to go everywhere. But when I'm in, I'm in. So let's have a virtual coffee instead. Microsoft, I'm so proud of that. That's one of the many big heavy hitter clients I closed. They sent me an email. I'm going to actually take you through that whole process towards the end of my presentation. So make sure you stay with it. But I took Microsoft from an inbox emails asking me to take on one job that they were going to pay me for, to taking on 4 as a speaker. And it was because I leveraged Zoom. So guys, this can be a huge game changer for you. Now, if you're like, okay, this sounds good, but I'm gonna take this information and I'm gonna put it in my virtual drawers. I'm not gonna do anything with it. I'm just gonna pile it away and think of someday. Then this could be your reality. You know, a book with no buyers, an empty calendar, no sales, social media marketing with no results, technology time wasted, frustrated, lots of pointless Zooms. Now I'm assuming you do not want that. Okay. One thing I remember about my Toastmaster world, and I love Toastmasters. I come from Toastmaster world. I'm a DTM. I've been a DTM since 2005. And it was literally an entree into me being into my own business. When I was at AT&T Business Markets, I was asked to be the MC, wasn't paid for it since I was an employee, but all the employees came. And I remember the person that was over us said, the MCs are required to go to a Toastmasters meeting. And I remember thinking, I got to go somewhere and drink. I don't understand. And then I joined Talk of the Towers, which was the Toastmasters Club in the World Trade Center. And I was a member of that for years. And this chapter told me, Marquesa, you got what it takes to be a professional orator. I said, really? And I listened to that. And then it became my DTM version of a dissertation. And it really boosted my business in the early years. So I love that so many of you are here and understand the value of Toastmasters. Take those same skills and use them virtually speaking, right? Now, guys, it has continued to grow my business to an unbelievable level. Now, I wanted to mention this before I get more into the branding. I wanted to mention that I am a Zoom administrator. So Zoom does not pay me, but I have enterprise licenses under me. So I will mention certain things that you can only do with an enterprise license. Just wanted you to know that. A little bit later, I was promised after everything ends, I would get a breakout, and some of you can meet me there and I can tell you more about that. But I don't want someone to say, wait a minute, what's she talking about? I ain't never heard of that. That's not on Zoom. What Zoom she using? It is possible. It's just a different kind of account. Are we clear? So that way, you know, I'm not mentioning something you're thinking that does not exist on Zoom, or what? Why does she know? I'm a Zoom administrator, so that's kind of why. All right. So here's the deal. How do you know you have results? How do you know you have results when it comes to the way you brand on Zoom? How do you know that what you're choosing to do is working? It's because you have that pipeline, guys, that pipeline. That pipeline is, I want to attract people. I want to make connections. I want to gather leads. I want to connect referrals. I do that on Zoom all the time. Guys, I'm allergic to the phone. Anybody like me? I am allergic to the phone. Now, I like my smartphone, don't get me wrong, but the landline, please. I say hello to the landline like once or twice a month. I turn it off because I don't want it to interrupt my calls. And then I have my smartphone off because I don't want notifications to disturb my productivity. If I'm going to have a meeting, everything I do is on Zoom. So if someone wants to pick my brain or talk to me about an event, Pamela can tell you that I will invite you to a Zoom. Okay. And I will transcribe the entire thing, let you get your own recording by clicking the three dots above your head and giving you recording powers. Why? Because once we end, I know I got about 3 or 4 meetings behind you, and I don't want you going, when is Marquesa going to send me the follow-up? Guys, Zoom is not only my virtual stage, it's my virtual classroom, it's my virtual studio, it's my virtual follow-up machine. It is everything. I use it for everything, literally. Okay. I leverage the heck out of it. So again, this thing called Zoom if you use it strategically, will take you through this entire cycle. Okay. It's important to know that very well. All right. Louise, please don't write on my stuff. Okay. So then another piece here would be what you guys are doing when it comes to being memorable. How are you memorable? What can you do to be memorable? And one of the things I would say in order to be memorable, and I'll bring them back up in a second, is connection and experience. Connection and experience. So what do I mean by that? Can I keep it real? Just let me know in the chat room if I can keep it real with y'all. Can I keep it real with my Toastmasters? Roxanne was like, yeah, thank you. Brian, how do you feel about me keeping it real? Good. All right, good. And guys, put your name there so I can see it. I see some initials, but I think it's Fab. Fab is like, okay, try it, give it a shot. All right, so here we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and share screen here, and I'm gonna go back to my portion of the screen. I like to do that because I have one of those scattered brains, and I may not necessarily want to go to the next slide. So I like to choose my direction. So I use portion of screen, which is under the advanced tab when you share, versus sharing just full sharing. I just love to let people know what I'm doing. So when it comes to being memorable, connection is the first thing. That means your look and feel matters. I always check my background. I am addicted to virtual background. I love it. It was my thing. When I'm meeting with a potential prospective client, especially a heavy hitter like a group, I just did a huge deal with a major association. I will put their logo in my Zoom background. Or if I'm being paid for the event and maybe I'm an MC or I'm in a certain type of role, then I'll also use a virtual background that usually my team will create based on them. All right. So that's part of it, but that's a very small part of it. That connection starts with the things we learn in Toastmasters, the body language, the tone, the energy, and that person seeing your heart. I want each person, this is why I call out folks' name. This is why I make sure that I can see the audience as much as possible. I can see Angela, I can see Brian, I can see Natalia, I can see Louise. I want to be able to see you guys and make you feel like it's just you and me, just us. And that's what I'll do. I'll take off my slides at times. I'll put them back on, but I want that connection because I don't want you to feel like I'm a talking head. That is really important to me. And this is what's going to get people to say, you know, that girl whose name I can't pronounce, let's bring her on because I liked X, Y, and Z about her. So remember that it doesn't change in the Zoom world. So what can you do to make sure that that is established? And guys, this comes before the virtual background. This comes before the polls. This comes before all of the other bells and whistles we love. You gotta connect. Remember vocal variety? That was a part of Toastmasters, right? Vocal variety, I remember that so well. This is where it matters, because if your voice is exactly the same, then people are going to zone out. You know what? I want to feel like you're human, and I want to feel like you're way more interesting than me going to a YouTube video. Does that make sense? We want to feel like we're talking directly. That person wants to feel like they're talking directly to you. All right. Number 2 is experience. What makes you or your virtual event different and urgent? When I say urgent, why should I watch it now instead of later? I'm almost allergic to pre-programmed or pre-recordings. And sometimes people, because they're nervous, they will say, and then to be fair, some speakers don't have the right internet, and sometimes people get frustrated. I remember I had to MC and produce an entire medical group, and they really wanted to do pre-programmed or not pre-recorded presentation. I was like, no, you kill the livelihood. But again, it depends, because in some situations it's your saving grace. So maybe I'll have that as a backup. Have the pre-recorded as a backup, but you want the live. You want people to feel like it's in the moment and it's something I need to attend. So part of that, and I'm going to break this down even more. So I just wanted to sort of give you big picture here. So let's break down connection. What I mean by connection is the immediate emotion. This will encourage your virtual audience to, you know what the words, lean in. So how do you do that? Have fun with the camera. I have multiple cameras. Right now, I just have one camera on, but usually I'll come in with 2 or 3 cameras to show different versions of it. You can just literally log into a Zoom meeting multiple times, or you can use the second advanced tab, and the last choice is second camera. There's different ways of coming in, but what can I do to just make sure that they feel close to me? But guys, I love polls. I love spotlighting. I love chat responses. I love screen sharing documents. I love video. I love mind maps. I love sharing music. All of these parts are wonderful for connecting, but do not make all of these more important than your talk. Do not make it more important than that connection there of what they're going to learn, because I see that happening sometimes. And if I don't know, like, or trust you, and if you notice at the beginning of my presentation, what was my first slide? Does anyone remember? I told you why you needed to be here and what you were going to get out of it, right? Tell me what's in it for me. I'm on that radio station, WII, what is it, WIIFM? I always get it wrong. What's in it for me? That's what your complete audience, that's the radio station they're tuned in. So let me know why I need to stick around. I'll never forget, I heard a financial expert and it was on some conference. This was many years ago, but I'll never forget her. And I remember thinking, all right, I'm about to go. They're talking about money. I don't want to hear it. I just like to make it. I don't like to manage it. And then her first slide was, if you can barely add 2 + 2, if you can make money like nobody's business, but when it comes to managing, it's not your strength. And this was years ago. I've since changed and evolved. Then you need to listen to me. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, I'm here. And then I wound up following her, hiring her, stalking her, everything, because she made it about me. So that's part of everyone kind of tuning in. The experience piece is where Zoom can help you out big time. So what do I mean by experience? The feeling your audience gets. This will help your audience remember. This is the feeling that comes up. Okay. So you can do this with Zoom Webinar. How many of you guys use Zoom Webinar? Zoom Webinar is amazing, right, Louise? It's amazing. And I know that there is this battle. Should I use Zoom meeting, Zoom Webinar? Should I use Zoom? Which one should I go to? Always thinking about your pal. That's how you make a decision. Think about your pal. What's the definition of pal? Somebody put this in the chat room. P, what's the purpose of this event or my speaking engagement? What's the purpose? What's the, who's my audience? Who am I talking to? Make sure that you know who your audience is. And even if you don't have any experience with your audience, then talk to somebody who does, because that's not a good excuse. And L are the logistics. How long? What can I use? What's a part of it? All those different pieces. So this is going to direct your pal. This is going to help you decide. I remember what this was literally 2 months ago. An association in Colorado wanted me and my team to produce, well, first they were on the fence about doing it. They have this flashy award ceremony every year, 167 nominees. Did you hear me? And we're like, it's no way we can put this on Zoom. Are you kidding me? People will be bored to death, until they got on the phone with me. And then we chatted, we talked, and we said, and again, what's your pal? What are you trying to do here? And when you're in virtual world, engagement is the #1 priority. So we started off their experience on Zoom meeting because there's more flexibility. You can see faces. They brought on a celebrity chef. I brought on a red carpet correspondent, just one of my friends who was good at doing that piece. And then we had people submit red carpet pictures so that they know that their picture may come up. They could use a celebrity body if they chose, but we made it all about them, and we made it interactive. We called it to pre-party. Then we told people to go from the Zoom meeting to the Zoom webinar, where we didn't need to see faces, because after all, we have 167 nominees, and then they had 60, I think they had about 45 sponsors, and it was crazy. But it worked out well, because then we were able to just make it about the ceremony and make it all top notch. And you see the background. It was like the Oscars on Zoom. Okay. So it was so important for us to create that experience. That's what's going to make people remember you and not feel like you just have another boring Zoom. All right. So these are some of the things I use. I use the registration piece. I love that on Zoom Webinar, it's unique and personable. Registration on Zoom Webinar is very different than registration on Zoom Meeting. There's just certain things you cannot do on Zoom Meeting that you can do on Zoom Webinar. And you can follow up easier. There's some tricks with following up on Zoom Meeting, but with Zoom Webinar, it's all laid out for you. Did you know that if somebody misses your event on Zoom Webinar, if you set up Webinar on Demand, say Pamela got busy and she had to miss your event. And then Pamela logged in a little bit later and she was like, oh, well, let me go to the registration page because I can't remember the link. Let me sign up again. And then Pamela goes to that page. It will literally, for Zoom webinars, if you've set it up, it will say, Pam, you can watch the presentation right now. And then they will message me that Pamela is watching it. Hello. I love Zoom Webinar. Is like a whole nother person. It's ridiculous how awesome it is. And the waiting room. How many of you guys use the waiting room on Zoom Meeting? And by the way, waiting room will be a part of Zoom Webinar in the first quarter of next year. There will be a debrief room. There will be all these other pieces the first quarter of next year. Thank you, Zoom. They listen to us. And that waiting room piece is everything. Do you know in my waiting room, I actually provide a resource? I mean, have you ever been in a waiting room where you didn't want to read a magazine? Is it just me? So why not provide a virtual magazine? But instead of it being a magazine, it's a link to my site where they can download a resource. That's what you do. You tweak that message. And in the first quarter of next year, they will allow us to either share our video or the participants will have to say, hello, let me in. You hear me? So that's what's coming. You hear, this is why you need to stick with Zoom. I'm telling you, mix it up. Mix up the time with breakouts if it's longer than 2 hours. Live transcript, do you guys know about that? That means that the words are going across the screen. And it's similar to closed caption, but a little bit different. Closed caption has a whole nother purpose. But now, today, they have live transcription. What I love the most is regular transcription, which means the entire meeting is being transcribed. Audio, video, you can literally, guys, if I were to send you the transcription of a Zoom meeting that I'm doing, you would see my video on the left and the words on the right. And of course, Zoom is going to misspell my name, Marquesa. So there's a little pencil I can click and type in my real name. That's what I'm talking about. And when does that transcription come in really great? Because I coach a lot of clients, and when I'm coaching, I want to send them the transcript in case, so they don't bug me and say, what was that? What was that? And then no one feels like listening to the video again if they were there. So transcription makes it easier for them to find exactly where they're going. So this is a part of experience, guys. Here's some bonus part that I wanted to mention, the connection in terms of the content. When it comes to your content, try to make it to where I can see it, because some of us are very visual. I would love to hear it. That would be nice. I can feel it, and there's a mixture of things. Do I want to just see your face? If it makes sense, of course. But if you can give me some kind of visual, I would love it. But mix it up. Bottom line, humanize it. Humanize it is what I really, really want. And then, guys, one thing I love about the experience is it kind of starts with me a little bit. This is my setup that you see right here. I'm actually on the computer to the left. That's the Zoom machine. You guys know Zoom has its own machine out right now. It's called Zoom for Home. And really the only benefit, guys, would be the camera and the sound, but it's kind of like the very expensive iPad that's only for Zoom world. Do I recommend it? Shh, don't tell Zoom I said this. I kind of do, but I think you need to wait until the second edition comes out. I'm just saying. I had to get it because people come to me to learn this information. I had to review it, so on and so forth. But I would wait until the second version comes out, because I think the first one is okay. It's great. The cameras are unreal. It's amazing. But I kind of would prefer that. But I talk about that at another time. So I kind of set up the experience with me. But this is the piece. This is why I'm showing you the screen. You can't really see it right here, but to the left, I have a riser. You know what a riser is? It's right below my laptop, and I'm able to push it up or pull it down. So if I want to stand up, I can stand up, or if I want to sit down, I can sit down. And then my laptop is eye level, which is so cool. Right? So that's a part of wanting that particular experience. And if you're concerned about, this is a question I always get, Marquesa, what is the equipment you use? I use the best camera, which is the Brio. Guys, get the Brio, get it from B&H Photo, which is right here in New York. They will send it to you quickly. It's about $60 less than getting it on Amazon. I love my beloved Amazon. I get some from Amazon every day. But when it comes to the Brio camera, you need to get it from B&H Photo. You can put your smartphone up here, just use your camera, take a picture to take you right to a page where you can download my free ebook on the equipment, as well as creating a polished Zoom virtual background. Does that make sense? So hopefully you guys got it. Put your smartphone on there. So what I want to do, and I got a timer. Where am I at on the time? Of course, I'm not looking at chat here. So let me just see how I'm doing on time, because I want to make sure that I respect your timing requirements. Let me see.
You have 13 minutes.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So let me keep it. So you guys enjoying this? Let me know if you're getting something out of it. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. So bottom line, Marquesa, I get the experience and all that, but can you give me a real life example? I want to see how you get those speaking engagements. Does anyone care about that? I want to see a real deal example. Take me step by step. So here we go. This is how I go from Zoom to income on a daily basis. Okay. I have very nice meetings that result in great things. One of the things I do is when I invite someone to a meeting, I send them a link. I send them a customized link. You know, you can do that, right? You can go to your favorite domain provider and have a link redirected. So you can sit up here and say, Pamela speaks.com or pamelazoom.com or brianzoom.com. You can create that, and Zoom on a paid account gives you a customized URL. All right. So two different things, guys. Do not get it confused. There's multiple ways to brand your Zoom. This is just one of them. The other way is Zoom gives you a customized link. When you log in, you see your profile, you can type in a word or a few words that will become your brand name on Zoom. Why do I care about that brand name? Because if I want to invite someone to meet me on Zoom and they're going to meet me on their smartphone, they can download the smartphone Zoom app right here, download the app, and then type in my brand name to join the meeting, and it will bring them right in. Talk about being impressed. So Microsoft emailed me and they said, hey, Marquesa, we want you to do a breakout session. Now, how would you guys have responded to that? Put in the chat room. How would you have responded to if Microsoft said they need you to do a breakout? Tell the truth now. What would you put in the chat room? What would you have? What would have been your ex? Look at that. Oh my God. Ilda, what are they saying? Sure.
When, where, definitely. Got a bridge to sell you. Meet me on Zoom. I'm in.
Right. You would have been like, yes, right? No, absolutely. Well, it's good. This is what I said. I replied back to Sarah and I said, because she said she'd heard me speak. I said, Sarah, I'm excited to do this and I absolutely look forward to working with you guys, but I really need to know more about your event. So would you meet me on Zoom? Guys, this was, I don't know, 2 years ago. This was before the pandemic. And this is when companies like Microsoft, they were like, Zoom, what you talking about? Literally. So just to be clear, this is a different time. Anyway, she met me on Zoom because I sent her my Zoom room, zoomqueenroom.com. She came in. The first thing she saw was my fancy waiting room with my nice message.
We have 10 minutes.
People, thank you. People run behind sometimes. And so I want them comfortable in the waiting room. And you do know in the chat box, I can send a message to Sarah to say, Sarah, I see you out there. Make sure you download my resource in my waiting room. I'll be to you in 2 minutes. I can message her from inside the meeting. Okay. Then, so she downloads the resource. Then I bring her into the meeting. Her, and she was with another person. It was me and one of my team members, and we talked, and I just asked her those key questions. What's your big picture? What's your goal? What's your POW? I need to know. And then I mind mapped out everything. I don't know if anybody else is a mind mapper. You can use a whiteboard if you want to, but I actually use mind mapping. I use MindNode because I have a Mac. So if you have a Mac, use MindNode. Windows has a great one. But I love to, and guys, I share my screen. This is how I take notes because I can't listen and write at the same time. So I can do that when it comes to mind mapping. Now she's seeing in front of her eyes the entire vision that I'm coming up with. And this literally happened with them. And then, so again, I shared my screen. I transcribed everything in case I missed something. Then while we were on the meeting, I let her record so she could have her very own recording. And I didn't have to follow up because Zoom did it for me. Hello. So then right when the meeting, and then while we were on the meeting, guess what I did? I listened to everything she said. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll have your proposal ready in 3 days. Would that be soon enough? She says, absolutely, that would be soon enough. I said, would you meet me on Zoom? Guys, I only do proposals on Zoom. Did you hear me? Because I don't like sending a proposal and getting back a Dear John letter. Okay. So I put them on the spot. I said, I do live proposals. So can you come on and I'll go through the proposal with you. And you know you can share your proposal right through the file share, right? So they can still get their written copy, but I want a chance to present it to them. So that's what I did this time. I said, who are the decision makers for this conference? Everyone came, it was 3 or 4, but it was an internal conference. It was only like 5,000 their employees. They brought them all on. And then again, that was about 3 days later. And then they were wild because they were like, this is so cool. And they got a chance to see me. It's eye to eye. The camera is open, the voices, everything. And before you knew it, after the live proposal, then I set up another follow-up meeting with just Sarah. She came back, and boy, did I Zoom like a boss, because she came back and she says, Marquesa, not only do we want you to do a breakout, we want you to do 3 breakouts. And one of the breakouts will be for leadership because they need to hear you. And then you will be on the main stage. Did you hear me? So I could have just said, yes, thank you. This is how much I charge. That's it. I went from 1 paid speaking gig to 4. Are you with me? Because I leverage Zoom. That's how you do it. That's how you show up on Zoom. Was that helpful? Do you see that? Okay, here we go. It should be Zoom. It should be Zoom Queen. Zoomqueen.com should work, but yeah, that's the right one. Thank you, Lois, for putting that in there. Don't forget, guys, as a quick review, I've already talked about Zoom webinars, but it does everything for you. Here's a little tip. How many of us do promotional events here? Does anyone do promotional events here? Do you ever wonder where the majority of people come from that attend your event? Zoom will tell you. It will. There's a section only in the webinar version that you can go to where it's all listed here. So what happens is I can put in Facebook group, I can put in Louis Brown's group, I can put in here Natalia's group, and then Zoom will give us a tracking URL that I'm going to give them. The only thing I got to do is click this plus sign, add in the source name, the tracking URL is created. I then turn that over to that person. Then I can log into the registration section, guys, and I can see the number of registrations and the number of visitors. Is that powerful or what? Did I say Zoom is a follow-up machine and it does all that for you? Plus, again, when it comes to branding, one of my favorite things are the filters. How many of us love the filters? The filters are no joke. It's good. It's amazing. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Good. I'm getting some really wonderful private messages. Love it. Love it. So filters is everything. But you may want to know how you leverage. You know what I did here? Remember I said my studio? Me and Zoom, I got right on and I was like, hello, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. Or I didn't do that, but I shared the what and why of coming to my event. I put up a filter. I pretended like the invisible chair was them being able to sit here. I sent this out to my list, guys. I got 500 people to sign up for that promotional webinar. Do you hear me? So those filters are amazing. Okay. Plus, Zoom will give me eyebrows. Who doesn't like that? Eyebrows, makeup, and it'll give Brian, it'll give you a mustache and a beard. You know this, right? So again, you got to prioritize, guys. This is what Zoom does for me. It allows me to acquire, to nurture, and to close so that I can serve more people. Again, these are my best practices. This is what I do. And this is how my journey of Zoom has really upped my business and taken it to the next level. My business did not go down when the pandemic hit. My business kind of quintupled, whatever that word is. All right. So guys, I hope you stay connected to me. Again, I'm going to do a breakout once the conference is open here. So if you have more questions for me or need me to be more specific about anything, my website is also zoomlikeaboss.com in case you're having a problem with zoomqueen.com. You can go to zoomlikeaboss.com as well. But these are just some of the updates. Hello. So every Monday I'm on, well, for the next couple of weeks, I'm on Zoom, the platform. And that's actually on zoomqueen.com, that exact link. And this is where I'm breaking down one of these updates, because these updates are everything. And if you want to know anything about the VIP licenses, let me know. But guys, it's my pleasure. Again, I feel like I'm home. I feel like I'm here with my family. This is where it all started for me. So I'm hoping that I've poured into my Toastmasters and that you will go out there and you will never look at Zoom the same. You'll say, I need to approach this strategically. This is my goal. So what can I do in terms of content, experience, and connection and beyond? as it says on this slide, the possibilities are endless. It has been my pleasure, y'all. This is Marquesa Pettway. They call me the Zoom Queen. And I can't wait for you guys to Zoom like a boss. And if I can help you, I'm here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Marquesa. That was absolutely wonderful. I think, as Lois said, it was the type of energy we needed right at the end. Lois, do we have time to ask a few questions, or how do we?
One question. One question. But she's going to be in a breakout room, so
yeah,
you can answer all of them there.
Okay, because there has been quite a few questions that came in, but if you could just quickly share your challenges when you started to build your Zoom presence as a business owner.
Oh, how do I start to okay, say that again. Someone asked, how can you get on my list? If you go to zoomlikeaboss.com and you go to the middle of the page, you can download my ebook. And that ebook automatically puts you on my list. Okay, so you can do it that way. But you want to say, what was that again, Elda? How did I deal with challenges?
What challenges did you face when you first started to build your Zoom presence as a business owner?
Well, yeah, to be fair, it started several years ago after Zoom launch. So it started for me years ago. But I can probably answer that question. So years ago, again, while I was on the road, it was honestly finding the right platform that I felt was user-friendly. And that's why Zoom stands out, frankly, because it's user-friendly. Do you guys agree? There's a lot of different ones, but then you will learn it, but then you're going to teach your users to learn it. I mean, Zoom, hello, my pastor is in love with Zoom, and they were completely anti-Zoom before the pandemic hit until they realized that was the only way we were going to have church every Sunday. So what I find is a lot of individuals, the challenges are kind of selling them on Zoom, but I think it's important. I think it's important to share, guys, it's simple and it is going to connect us and we're going to be able to see each other. And like my 91-year-old grandmother, for the life of me, I could not get her to join Zoom via video because she can't really text or do all these other things. But I sat on the phone with her yesterday for 45 minutes. And I said, I'm going to send you this number. Actually, I told her the number over the phone. Zoom is a conference call system as well. So you meet people where they are. Do not let technology issues stand in your way. So that can be a big issue. I think another challenge is, how do I use Zoom to grow my business? And I think the very first thing is just get out there, guys. On all the social media platforms, you can live stream. And my recommendation, especially on Facebook, live stream using Zoom. Do not use Facebook Live unless you're outside, and you can even use your smartphone through Zoom. I do that because I can bring Ilda on if I want to. I can record it so I can put it somewhere else. I love to share my content in different places. So just get out there and solve a problem. You know what I mean? If you know how to help, like everybody gaining weight right now, including me, you know how to help people lose weight, get on Facebook and say, guys, this is something I would do right now if you're struggling with gaining weight right now. This is the one thing I would try doing. And if you want more information, this is how you can get on my list. And I have a free tip sheet for you. So build your audience by solving your audience's problems. So I can give a longer answer a little bit later, but hopefully that helps a little bit.
Thank you so much, Marquesa. So there was quite a few questions and we're inviting people to stay on. And right at the end of this event, there'll be a breakout room with Marquesa's name, and whoever is interested in having their questions answered can just click on that breakout room, and Marquesa will be available to answer all the questions. So without any, I think I will end this session here. Thank you again for that wonderful hour and valuable tidbits on Zoom, and I will hand over to Lois. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Hilda and Marquesa. You did not disappoint. You brought the gold. This was a perfect ending. Let's show her some love. Give me the claps, give me the hearts. Let her know that we totally appreciate her.